Hello, 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 everyone. I hope that you are having a wonderful and blessed morning. You are now live with Dave Jose. I'm coming to drop yet another fire message on you to let you see that the bar attorneys have been lying to you about what your power is. They have been lying to you about where you stand in law, and I'm going to show this and help you to understand where you really have power. Please forgive me. Um, I'm going to try to get some people added onto the video. Oh, wait, we got some people popping up. I think I can share. Please forgive me. I'm kind of new at this program. Hey, Pamela, how you living? I need somebody, if you can, to share this live from YouTube. And I want you to share it onto Facebook and tag me. So tag me on your actual post where you share it on Facebook, and I'll accept it onto my page as well. So if you guys could do that, that would be totally awesome. Let me see if I can get this right. Okay, so I need you to tag my Facebook to get this out. And we're going to go over some very, very, very powerful things today. We're going to discuss some things that will help people to get their power back and will help us to realize that we are supposed to be fighting the things that we're fighting in a different way. You know, one thing about bad people, thanks, Rianne, you are so awesome. One of the things about the way that our government has been doing us is that, first of all, we got to be careful when we say our government, because I don't want us to get the false belief that the government actually, that we belong to them. Rianne, if you could share it again and say, please jump on right now, super important. That'll be good. And I appreciate you and I thank you for all you do. So what we must understand is, let me know if you're on here. Okay, you're on here. What we must understand is that we as people, right? Let me pray real quick. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Father, please bring people to this video. Let them see truth. Let them be able to see things clearly. Help me to be able to speak clearly, Father, and to make things plain that they might understand. And Father, we just thank you for all you do. We thank you for your love and mercy and truth. We thank you for the blessings you give us. We thank you for helping us stand and for loving us, Father. You are an amazing and wonderful God. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So, one thing that happens is that we end up trying to fight, right? We want to fight and stand, and we want to be able to have remedy. Everybody's running around talking about remedy, 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 remedy. How do we have remedy? How do we execute? How do we stand? How do we do this? How do we do that? Well, remedy is literally bound in having an educated people. Whenever you have an educated people, you're going to automatically have remedy. The reason that government officials do not teach you the law is that they don't want you to understand what the truth is, because they're spending quite a bit of their time trying to steal from you. They're literally creating millions of dollars, billions of dollars, by creating cases. And the way that they create these cases is to trample your rights. So what I have to do is help you to see where your power is. I forgot how to add people on this video. If you're on the video now and you can hear my voice, please say here or present or something, so that I can know how many people are on the video. I know that Facebook blocks my videos, and I want to make sure that you guys can see me. So if you could let me know how many of you guys are on here. So I see Pamela is still here. Everybody else, please share. I really want to get some people on. Let me see if I click on one, if I can get some video on here. or see some people are on here. I don't want to jump into this too quickly and miss people, because I'm not looking to do a big long video like I usually do. Let's see. So it won't play live on Facebook. People are going to have to come here to hear it. So let me see real quick. Let me see if it tells me how many people are on there on YouTube. So it says one person is watching. If you go down under the video on YouTube and you go to where it right up under the video is a thumbs up, thumbs down. Right next to that is a share. Okay, I'm going to try to check and see. I need it shared to Facebook. Well, what I'll do is I'll start breaking things down now, and we'll just deal with it. First of all, when it comes to remedy, right? What I'll do is I'll start breaking things down now. Okay, I'm sorry. I was just checking the video, see if I can see anything different. Okay, we're good. Okay, so when it comes to remedy, guys, the issue is that the government does not want us knowing what our remedies are. They want us to be broken and weak. And the reason is because if we're broken and weak, they can, like I said, trample our rights at will. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't stop them. We are confused when it comes to court cases, and we end up losing. So what I want to do is I want to look at the remedy, right? I want to look at remedy. So what we're going to do is we're going to understand how the governments are created. Because a lot of people in America right now are talking about how governments have police officers that's shooting people, right? Governments have police officers that's showing too much force. They're stopping peaceful protests in California when we were watching Sandra Ariane and those ladies protest for medical freedom and protesting for other issues, right? So after we've seen all these things happen, we ended up finding out that the government would equally abuse people of every different race. It didn't really matter what race you were. It didn't matter where you were from. They would hit you with a club. They would knock you on the ground. They would run you over. Now, not all police officers do that, but we saw some, right? Now, the reason this is important is because your remedy is bound in you knowing the truth and you knowing your power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you real quick to the Missouri Constitution, which any constitution that is accepted by the United States government or the government of the states united, meaning all the states together, what happens is when they accept the constitution of one state based on the United States Constitution, the states united, they also agree to accept that the rights of the people in one state is also, they get full faith and credit in another state. So if the people reserve certain rights, you don't have to name every right that you have to reserve your rights in a state constitution. And there's usually clauses there to say that, listen, that just because we listed these rights doesn't mean that that's the only ones we have. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the Missouri State Constitution, and I'm going to let you see powers of the people. And we're going to understand the powers that you have that you may not have been talked to about. So let me see if I can get this to flip. Okay. So here we're going to look at, and excuse my dirty nails, I've been working on cars. Powers of the people over internal affairs, constitution and form of government. Now, internal affairs is kind of deep because police will have internal affairs. The police will have internal affairs, right? And then their internal affairs will only allow the police to make a determination if something has been done wrong. This is backwards. Excuse me. This is backwards. This is how it's really supposed to go. Powers of the people over internal affairs, constitution and form of government. Watch this. that the people of this state, and this is Missouri, and it's equal everywhere else, have the inherent, it's intrinsic, it's in them, it's power that belongs to them, sole and exclusive. Sole means only, exclusive means it's set apart for them only. Exclusive right to what? Regulate the internal government and the police thereof. So they have the sole and exclusive right to regulate the internal government, the one you created, your forefathers, and police thereof. See, the police belong to the internal government. They don't belong to the people. The police are part of the corporate entity called the government. Now watch what other power you have. And to alter and abolish their constitution. We can alter and abolish our constitution and form of government, the way that we govern ourselves, whenever they may deem it necessary to their safety. So if you don't like the fact that they're trying to give you shots and make you wear a mask, you don't need their permission to say, we don't like the fact that this might interfere with our safety and happiness. So let's look at how powerful this is. We got so much power over the government that they're not telling us that we could actually change our form of government, remove and alter or abolish their police and the government whenever we may deem it necessary to our safety and happiness. So the question you got to ask is, how many times, guys, you dealt with a situation where an attorney says, well, you don't really have power unless you come together as all the people. You don't have individual rights. There's nothing you can do about what's happening because the government has a compelling interest in your stuff. So they're trying to say that the government somehow got an interest in your rights and power so tough that you can't ever change it and you can't fix it and you can't have remedy. But in the Constitution of Missouri, it clearly tells us, that we have the power to change, alter, abolish the government at will. Now, for anybody who's in here, I got to ask you, and their police, people are saying, write a statute for us that says that we can express our right to be safe and have our happiness and be able to go outside and do this stuff. How does it make sense that you have to ask for a statute to be happy or go outside or make your own choices when your Constitution says you can alter and abolish and reform government at will? You see what I'm saying? So if you can reform government at will, why are you waiting? Why are you waiting for somebody to come out with a statute to do what you want them to do? If you have to deal with them over the fact that they're not honoring your wishes, they're not protecting you, they're not helping you to pursue happiness, you realize you have the power to reform and alter them at any time, abolish them at any time, right? That's what the law said. So we got to look at these things because what's happened to us is we have been railroaded and we are made to believe that what is not the law is the law. So I'm going to show you guys something. Okay, I'm going to show y'all something. Number 25. So I'm going to show y'all Declarations of Rights, number 25 in Arizona, so you can get an idea of what kind of power you have. Okay, so in the Declarations of Rights, which are the guaranteed rights in Arizona, And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to adjust this kind of funny because my screen, the comments are blocking the video. But in Arizona, Section 25 of the Declaration of Rights, it says, and these are guaranteed rights by your forefathers, no bills of attainder, ex post facto law, that means law after the fact, or law impairing the obligation of contract, shall ever be enacted. So, if you have an obligation of contract, so you have associations that come together that agree to hold power over your kids, for instance. If you say we're going to have a private association that protects our kids, and if there's any issues, we deal with our kids inside of the group, and that no government employee is going to be able to pull our kids out of the houses, but that they will go to each other if there's an issue, what you're going to have is an obligation of contract, and they will not be able to enact any law that will then allow for anything else to be done. And so what we have to do, guys, with remedy is start making associations, and start making associations fast. If you are a private association or private organization, and you're dealing with a situation where they're trying to shut down your business, they're trying to shut down your opportunity to make money, to live, to function, right? They're telling you, oh, well, we can stop you from working your business. We can stop you from living. Let me see, ARS. We can stop you from enjoying the benefits of your associations. Yeah, we need to make them fast. I'm going to show you something. Even in the middle of an emergency where they're trying to prosecute people for, let me see if they show it here. I got a funny feeling they're going to hide part of this in any article. Yes, they do. I'm going to show y'all something. They're doing news articles about the power. They say people or business who violate these orders. They're not telling the whole truth, and I'm going to show you how they do it. So they write a news article for Arizona, right? And look what they do. Actually, let's see. Southwest, swlaw.com. It might be Southwest Law, I believe. Let me see. No, it's Snell and Wilmer. I'm sorry. So these are legal alerts. So this is a law office, right? And I'm going to show you how dirty this law office is by what they did. Arizona executive orders on coronavirus enforcement and penalties updated March 31st, 2020. Now, what I want to do, Arizona Governor Ducey has provided guidance on the enforcement of his numerous executive orders that regulate Arizona businesses and individuals. Now, they're saying those words, but they're not telling you what they mean. Now, I'm going to show you how slick they get. The orders show a balance between protecting the public during the health emergency and protecting the individual liberties of Arizonans. Now, they're showing you that you have individual liberty, right? Then they talk about under ARS 26-303E1, which is part of the emergency management chapter, the governor has complete authority over all agencies of the state and the right to exercise within the area designated all police power vested in the state by the Constitution and laws of this state in order to effectuate the purposes of this chapter. Now, let me show you how slick this thing gets. So I'm going to show you what the attorneys put out, because the bar members have been doing some really, really, really crazy dirt to us. And they don't tell the whole truth. They hide the truth. They hide the law. And I'm going to prove it to you. Now watch this. I want you to pay attention to these words very closely. People, right? Now let's see if they're telling the truth. People or businesses who violate these orders could get in criminal trouble. Really? Now, the people are the ones who created the Constitution, who can reform the government at any time. Businesses are the ones who may contract with the state to be LLCs and corporations and the such. But watch what they do when they show us the law. ARS 26317 provides that a violation of an order, rule, or regulation, which I'm going to tell you don't apply to people or anyone in the private, provides that a violation of an order, rule, or regulation issued pursuant to the state of emergency is a Class 1 misdemeanor. This crime carries up to 6 months in jail and fines for that for a business go as high as 20,000. A different state statute ARS 26316 authorizes prosecutors and police. Now, with these restrictions on our freedom, really, that's what it is, restriction on our freedoms. Why do I say we need to, why do we need to understand what's really going on and understand our remedy and understand that lawyers usually are freaking liars? They're going to lie by just deceit or omission in many cases. ARS 26317 provides that it tells what the violation of the order is, class 1 misdemeanor, right? Now, notice though that what they're showing you is not the law. What they're showing you is what they say the punishment is for the law. Why didn't they show us the law? Why didn't they show us the law? If you are trying to show us what we must do, why not take us to the plain language of the law? Help us to understand what our duties are. Help us to see that it applies to us. Why wouldn't you show it to us? Why? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how dirty the attorneys are. So the attorneys showed what kind of weight is carried if you break the statute, right? They say, oh, you can get up to 20,000 if you're a business, right? But why didn't they show us the whole law? Now, I want you to tell me if this makes sense to you and you can understand that this looks different than what they just showed us. Watch this. Military Affairs and Emergency Management, 26317. That's the one they just quoted, right? Now, let's see if this is the same thing as what we saw. Let me see if I can get this stuff off the screen. Shucks. Hold on one second. Okay, so it says, let me know if y'all can read this. Any person who violates any provision of this chapter, all right? So any person, they didn't say people like they said. They said people or businesses, right? Any person who violates any provision of this chapter or who knowingly fails or refuses to obey any lawful order or regulation issued as provided in this chapter shall be guilty. Now, there's no trial by jury right here. They didn't say you're guilty if a jury says you're guilty. They're just saying you're guilty. Guilty of a class 1 misdemeanor. Now, that's all they showed us, is that you're guilty of a class 1 misdemeanor. It can be up to 20,000 under ARS 26317. My question is, why didn't they show the whole law? Why didn't they show the whole thing? Look at what they left out. The second half. This provision does not apply to the refusal of any private organization or member thereof to participate in a local emergency or state of emergency as defined in this chapter. So they said people or businesses can get in trouble with the law. But the problem is, if the people, they didn't tell us that if the people are part of a private organization, that they're not bound even if they refuse. So in other words, the law tells us, the statute that they're quoting, that they didn't show the whole quote or the whole statute. They left out this part of it. They said people and businesses can get in trouble with the law. But why don't they add the fact that it says that private organizations or members thereof, that this provision does not apply to them if they refuse? Do y'all see the issue here? Give me some feedback if you understand what I'm saying. The attorneys are telling us all types of stuff. But the attorneys are failing to tell us what's really going on. They're failing to tell us that if we are part of a membership association, that they don't have the power to punish us if we decide that we don't want to be part of one of their foolish emergency management plans, right? It's not a law. It's a plan that they have during emergency management. Now, the people have all political power. What's happening is that these people are making money when they lock down the state. Now, you might not believe me, so I'm not going to just say it myself. I'm going to show you that they wrote into statute that they got the power to accept money, gifts, loans, grants during the time of an emergency. So they could be collecting a ton of money, and the money could be going into different accounts. And that, as always, they could be using trust, right? And different bank accounts and sending money to different places, and nobody can account for it, right? Nobody's showing us where the money that comes in from this is going. As a matter of fact, nobody's really told us that they're making money except for Kelly Townsend. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you in their own statute so you understand why we have the power to regulate our internal government, why we need it, why we must use it, because these people are out of control. 2014 Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 26, Military Affairs and Emergency Management, 26-312, authority of executive officers and governing bodies to accept materials or funds. Authority of executive officers and government bodies to accept materials or funds. Watch this. The governor, on behalf of the state or the governing body of a political subdivision of this state, may accept for purposes of emergency services an offer. An offer of the federal government or an agency or officer thereof, or an offer of any person, firm, or corporation of services, equipment, supplies, material, or funds, whether by gift, grant, or loan, and may designate an officer of the state or subdivision thereof to receive them on behalf of the state or subdivision, subject to terms, if any, of the offerer. So the offerer can make up the terms by which they're going to accept the money. What if they say, if you shut down your state, if you make sure that nobody can go outside, if you tell everybody they need to wear masks, then we'll give you some money. We'll give you tons and tons and tons of money. Look, if you get your hospitals to say that people have COVID and that it is an emergency, we'll go ahead and we'll allow you to get money, right? We'll allow you to get money for every single man or woman that you say has COVID. So in an emergency, the state is giving itself permission to collect money from private people, right? They can collect money from Soros if they want to. They can collect money from whoever they want because they wrote in the statute to allow them to do it during an emergency. So if there's an emergency and people are collecting money and you don't get to see where it goes, is it likely that our people in the state government can be bought out and not do what's right? This is why our forefathers left us the power to be able to at all times change the government. They are amenable to us at all times, meaning they are accountable to us. They must acknowledge what they're doing. They can't do things in hiding, right? Let me show y'all something else. Give me 1 second. Forgive me for sweating. It's really humid outside. No, see, the thing is, they can't punish us if we don't want to do what they say in an emergency plan. But the easiest way to deal with it is we associate. We create an association. When we create an association, what it does is it blocks them from being able to do certain things because we're no longer part, or can be assumed to be part of their plan and program and their government. I'm sorry, their government status. Like they work as the government. So let's look at what Arizona's Declaration of Rights says, and it's super important. All political power, not some, all. I was arguing with an attorney last night, and I asked him, where does all political power lie? He said, in the people and the government. Now, this is so stupid because there's a comma here. All political power is inherent in the people, and governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed and are established to protect and maintain individual rights. So as those attorneys showed y'all, we have individual rights that's not based on anybody else's rights. We have them alone, right? Thank you, Candy. You too. So individual rights belong to the people, and people have all political power. All political power is inherent in the people. That means it's intrinsic. It's inside of them. It belongs to them. And government derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, which we're not the governed. We are the people who created the authority and the power for government to rule over its employees. Governments don't rule over the people. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to prove it to you. I'm not just going to say it. I'm going to show you where the government doesn't have the power to restrict the people. We gave them explicit power during different situations where they're working with the federal government to restrict themselves. But we never gave them power to restrict the people. Let's look and see. Supreme law of the land, authority to exercise sovereign authority. So what is their sovereign authority? Against federal actions, use of government personnel. Persons are personnel, right? And financial resources. The Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land to which all government, now notice it didn't say all people, all government, state and federal, is subject. The state and federal workers are subject to the Constitution of the United States. The state workers are also subject to the Constitution of the state and all the statutes of the state. See, they'll try to make us believe that we are bound by the Constitution and we are bound by all the statutes. This is where they're lying to you. The people are free and independent from government. You don't have the power to control them with your statutes. Now let me prove it. To protect the people's freedom. So the purpose of this is to make sure that the people have freedom, right? Now, the people have to have freedom. So what this is saying is that if the government wants to do anything, they only have the power to do what we state here. And the reason we give them that power is to protect the freedom of the people. Why? Because it is understood that if the federal government can come in and bribe our state personnel and use them to carry out federal plans and programs like child support enforcement, CPS, Highway Safety Act, what happens is that and coronavirus shutdowns and all that, they'll get paid and bribed in order to shut us down, take our cars, take our kids, take our stuff. Watch this. Now I'm going to show y'all how powerful our forefathers have made us. To protect the people's freedom. So the purpose is for people to have freedom at all costs. And to preserve the checks and balances of the United States Constitution, this state may exercise its sovereign authority. Well, what does it have in its sovereign authority? To restrict the actions of its personnel. So whose personnel can be restricted? The state can restrict its own personnel and the use of its financial resources to purposes that are consistent with the Constitution by doing the following. They can pass an initiative or referendum, they can pass a bill, or they can pursue other legal remedy. Now watch this. Now if the people or their representatives exercise their authority pursuant to this section, this state and all political subdivisions. Now, this is going to show you when they want to do the federal COVID program and lock you down, when they want to do the federal CPS program and just come steal your kids, if they want to come and do the federal child support program and just steal your money, what happens is they're supposed to be protecting the people's freedom and to preserve the checks and balances of the United States. Well, when they do these federal programs, they might partner with the secretary in the executive branch of the federal, and then they hire the whole staff of the court in the state or the county, And what they'll do is they'll mix the judicial, use their services with a program that the legislature is writing permission slips for them to take stuff. They're using the judges to act as clerks. And then at the same time, they're mixing with the executive because they're getting the Attorney General's office and CPS workers to go out and take kids. They're getting people to try to contact trace. They're getting people to do all these things, guys, which are federal programs for money. So we have the power in Arizona and every other state that if we don't want them to be able to do this, we can clearly prohibit this state. We can prohibit them from using any personnel of the state or financial resources to enforce. So when they want to go arrest people and use the political subdivisions police, or they want to use the legislature to write statutes to say that we got the permission to take your stuff or lock you down or force you to wear a mask. If they're trying to enforce, administer, or cooperate with the designated federal action or program, we can prohibit that. So in Arizona, guys, we don't need to beg the legislature, hey, please stop. Say that we don't have to wear masks. Beg Ducey, please say that we don't have to wear a mask. Please don't force us. Please don't allow this to happen. That is not how the law works in our state. We are the top of the food chain. We are the people. All political power is inherent in us. It comes from us. We have the power to regulate our internal government, and we have the power, exclusive and sole power, to alter, abolish, reform them, and the police thereof. We can remove their police if they're trampling our rights. And so, guys, what we have to understand is we can do injunctions against these people. We can create associations, and the associations will block them, as I showed you, from being able to force anybody to partake in a freaking federal emergency management program or state emergency management program, which they're only doing it, guys, because they're making money from the Fed. If you look up Title 42, USC 4409, you're going to find that everybody who gets a first or second COVID diagnosis is getting money from the state. From the Fed. They're getting money. The hospitals getting money, okay? And there's other people in the political subdivision that are getting money too. So what we got to understand is that it is a trick. It is a dirty scam. And they're not telling us the complete truth. They're not showing us where our power is on purpose. They're not showing us where our freedom is. They're forcing measures on us that are like Hitler, right? But the reason this is happening and we didn't have remedy is because we didn't know that we had all political power. We didn't know that the government gets their power from us. The government is controlled by us, not the other way around. The people are free and independent. Independent from government, independent from their statutes and codes. Their statutes and codes are how they control themselves. It has nothing to do with how to direct us. And I showed you guys the other day in the New Mexico Constitution where it said that the people have the sole and exclusive right to self-govern. The government doesn't make laws for us, y'all. They don't. The common law, the law of the land, is what applies to us. And if we harm somebody, somebody needs to swear by oath and affirmation with an affidavit and say that we did wrong. God made the laws in the Bible. The Bible shows the common law. God made the laws in the Bible that he wanted the people to follow. He was not bound by those laws. The creators of the law that is to bind someone is not bound by the law because he had the power to create the law. So when it says that governments can, the Arizona state can use its sovereign authority to restrict its personnel and financial resources, it can restrict what is under it. It can create things under it. We as the people are able to create constitutions which makes seats for government workers so that we make a law binding them. Notice that I proved to y'all in this video that the Constitution of the United States binds all state and federal government. The Constitution binds all state and federal government. The people who created the Constitution had the power to make entities that are below them, right? The people who created it didn't get bound. It just bound those who decide to work for government. The government workers gave consent by accepting the offer to work as employees or servants. When they offer to work as employees or servants, they consent to be governed. The people are not bound by the constitutions or the statutes. The statutes are created by the state workers to tell other state workers what they're going to do when they're on the clock. When they're in their private person, meaning that they are minding their own private affairs, they cannot be interrupted or interfered with or their home invaded. So this is all constitutional principles, common law principles that you get the idea of your home is your castle from. If somebody breaks in your house and try to kill people, you have the right to defend yourself, right? You don't have to usually run from a criminal in your own home that's trying to harm you. You can stand your ground and kill him, right? Past your threshold of your door is your jurisdiction. This is why they have to have a warrant to enter your home and to look at certain things and to mess with certain things. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I wanted you to see your power. I wanted you to see remedy. I wanted you to see where you can stand. And the thing is, guys, is not in the interest financially for attorneys to tell you this. An attorney came on yesterday on Twitter and people just laughing because they can see this guy clearly don't know the law or he's just a freaking liar. Because when I asked him, I said, hey, so based on the Arizona Declaration of Rights, and I asked him, are you familiar with the Arizona Constitution? He said, generally, but I can look it up if I need to. So I said, based on the Arizona Declaration of Rights, where does all political power, who holds all political power? He said, well, people and governments. I said, wait. So if the Constitution clearly says the people hold all political power, I mean, it's inherent in them. Why would you say people and government? See, he has a conflict of interest. He wants to use his private entity called the bar to be able to control the people, and he needs to use government to do it. So if he ever admits that the people have all the political power, then what happens is he realizes that it automatically diminishes the power that he has. So it shows that the bar members have zero power in the Constitution because they are not elected individuals in the Constitution. But what's happening is they're trying to use the government by attaching themselves to every part of the government. They're in the legislature, they're in the judicial, they're in the executive. And what happens is they work at the top in the legal departments to tell all the people, all the government workers, hey, don't do that. You can't do that. Don't do this. You can't do that. Don't let the people put this type of law in because, I know some people who tried to pass statutes in Arizona, and they wanted to pass statutes to give rights to the people. And I knew from the beginning, I'm like, this is not going to work because they can't give you your rights. The legislature has no power to give rights to the people, period. They can acknowledge that you have a right, but they can't give you any rights. They can't declare your rights for you. The judges can't declare your rights for you. They can protect your right. They can see somebody trying to encroach against your rights in the Constitution, and they can say, no. This person didn't even ask for this, but as a trustee of the state, I am not going to allow you to trample this person's rights. We will not have this, right? So this is the kind of stuff that we need to learn and understand so that we can fight. But this gentleman in the discussion last night, he tried to ignore the fact that the people have all political power. He tried to ignore the fact, he tried to speak around it. He tried to say, well, the people and the government have all political power. Because in their doctrines and theories, they want to say that the government has unlimited power where it can do whatever it wants to at any time. They don't understand, and they understand, they don't want you to know that the government only has the powers that are granted to them by the Constitution, and they can exercise anything under that. But they don't have the power to turn their power back on the people and destroy the people, take people's stuff without due process of law, without using a trial by jury of their peers, without showing that somebody broke a real common law, a real actual common law, not something else. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I hope this made sense to you. If this made sense, please say so in the comments real quick. I don't know if there's like buttons on here. Please like the video. Do whatever you do. Share it. But I want to thank you guys for coming on. I want to also take this video and get it out on Twitter. I want you guys to make sure you continue to share it on Facebook so we can see our real truth, our remedy, and what it is that we have the power to do that is being hidden from us. We can no longer afford to let government officials hide the truth from us, steal our rights, and punish us when they are wrong. Thank you, Lee Anthony. So, as I showed y'all in the beginning, we as the people, based on Missouri Constitution, which is the same in every state, we have that power because of the full faith and credit of the states united. What you'll find is that it says that we have the exclusive and sole power to regulate our internal government. And we can abolish, alter, and reform them at whenever we feel like it. And we also realize that it told us that this is an inherent right of the people. Because the people created the governments, we also have the power to reform it and get rid of things, abolish things as soon or whenever we should deem it necessary. For what? Because we've got to prove that scientifically something is wrong or right? No. Whenever it affects our happiness, right? That's a big concept. And I showed y'all this earlier. Go back and look at the beginning of the video. Whenever our happiness is affected, we can change the government. That's how much power we have. So you want remedy? Teach the people the truth and show them this. As soon as they affect our happiness, we can reform the whole freaking government. Right? So many people ain't happy about wearing no freaking mask and letting people force you to do stuff. Right? Many people are not happy about this silly stuff, right? Let me see. Nice to see you. Thank you. So when they start interfering with our happiness, it's time to go, right? We brought them into power for our benefit. We created their offices and seats for our benefit, right? So when these people come talking about, oh, well, we have the police power to take everything from you. I don't give a freak about your police power. When the freaking Constitution says we can reform you and get rid of all of y'all whenever y'all affect our happiness. So don't tell me you got the police power to just come take people's kids and put warrants over people and take their estates. Shut the freak up with that garbage. Ain't nobody got time for that stupidity, right? And we're calling it out and we're making it plain. Bar attorneys, you need to figure out where the freak you gonna roll, whose side you gonna be on, the side of the people or your corrupt, freaking foolish private club, all right? We're sick of your Walmart talking about you got some police power to take people's kids, take people's cars. Oh, we got police power to do things that we want to do no matter what it is. We can expand and we got unlimited power. No, you got unlimited power to do whatever we give you power to do. So if we give you a power to change diapers, right? You have the unlimited power to change diapers. That's it. If we give you the power to handle our business and protect our rights, you have the unlimited power to protect our rights. But you ain't got no police power to remove the rights of the people. Look at the case Hurtado versus California. You cannot diminish the rights of the people. Y'all need to wake up and realize that we're not having that junk no more, and we're going to correct it and we're going to deal with it. So you are live with Dave Jose. This video is yours. I pray to God that it's been good for you, that it's been simple and clear and clean and easy to understand. I love the heck out of you guys. We stand in power. We stand in truth. Please share this to Twitter and let's kick some butt, y'all. I love the heck out of y'all. Stay out of trouble. Peace.